Today, we're digging into a force that's quietly reshaping our entire world: AI-powered surveillance. From the apps on our phones to the cameras on our streets, artificial intelligence is enabling a level of monitoring that was once basically science fiction. So the real question is, what's the true cost of all this new power?
Okay, so we all use them every single day, right? Free search engines, social media, smart speakers that can answer any question we throw at them. But have you ever really stopped to think about the price of free? Because it turns out there's a hidden transaction happening with every single swipe, click, or command you make.
For a long time, the easy answer was, oh, they just show us ads. But the reality today is, well, it's way more complex than that. The whole digital economy isn't just about showing you an ad anymore. It's about collecting enormous amounts of data about your behavior. And that data has become the raw material for a new and unbelievably powerful kind of marketplace.
And this brings us to this idea of behavioral surplus. Think of it as our digital exhaust, all the little bits of data we create that aren't really needed for the service to work. You know, how you hesitate before you finish a search query, how long your eyes linger on a photo, the exact tone of your voice when you talk to your smart assistant. To the companies scooping it up, this isn't garbage. It's gold.
And we're making this stuff constantly. Every search, every like, every route we take with our GPS, every time our smart home adjusts the heat, it's all being captured. This isn't just random data. It's a super detailed, real-time log of human experience, and it's being claimed as a free resource for someone else's profit.
So what happens to all this behavioral surplus? Well, it gets fed into a powerful new economic engine. And this engine, it doesn't just want to know what you did yesterday. Its main goal is to predict, with almost perfect certainty, what you're going to do next.
This whole economic model actually has a name: surveillance capitalism. The commodity for sale is our personal data, but the final product, it's not sold to us. It's sold to other companies who want to place bets on our future behavior. It's literally a marketplace that trades in what we're going to do.
And it all works in a four-step loop. First, our data is extracted. Second, incredibly powerful AI sifts through it all to find patterns. Third, those patterns are used to make these super accurate predictions about us. And finally, and this is the part that changes everything, companies step in to nudge, to influence, and to shape our behavior to make sure those predictions actually come true. Think of that buy button showing up at the exact moment you're most vulnerable to clicking it. That's no accident.
And this is where we have to draw a really clear line. There's a huge difference between the data a company needs to make an app work better for you and all the extra data they collect to create prediction products to sell to someone else. One is about service, the other is all about surveillance.
Now, this business model isn't just some abstract theory. It has massive, real-world consequences. When the main goal shifts from just serving users to actually modifying their behavior, the risks to our privacy, our freedom of choice, and even our democracies, well, they become very, very real.
A huge wake-up call came in 2018, when it was revealed that a political consulting firm called Cambridge Analytica had improperly gotten its hands on the data of up to 87 million Facebook users. And this wasn't just some data breach. It was a live demonstration of surveillance capitalism's power in action.
The firm took all that data and used it to build these incredibly detailed psychological profiles. Then, they used those profiles to target people with political messages specifically designed to influence how they'd vote. It was a terrifying look at how this new power could be aimed right at the heart of democracy, using our own personal data to manipulate us.
And what's really crucial to understand is that the burden of all this surveillance isn't shared equally. Research shows pretty clearly that marginalized communities often face a much more intense, more pervasive kind of monitoring. This feeling of omnipresence, like you're always being watched, can create a chilling effect, leading people to self-censor and changing how they express themselves.
We see this unequal burden pop up in another fast-growing area: predictive policing. This is where AI algorithms chew on historical crime data to try and predict hotspots and tell police where to go. The idea is to stop crime before it even happens,
But what happens when the data you're feeding the machine is already biased?
Well, the risk of biased data became a reality with an algorithm called COMPAS, which was used in U.S. courts to predict who was likely to reoffend. An investigation found it was dangerously flawed. Look at the data. The algorithm was almost twice as likely to falsely flag black defendants as being high risk compared to white defendants. The AI didn't invent this bias. It just learned it from our biased historical data, and then it amplified it, basically automating inequality at an incredible scale.
So, in response to all of these risks, a huge global debate over regulation has kicked off. Governments all over the world are basically scrambling to draw new lines in the digital sand, trying to find a way to balance innovation with our fundamental rights.
And right now, we're seeing three main models emerge. In the European Union, with their GDPR law, they treat privacy as a fundamental human right, and the goal is to empower people. In the United States, it's a much more patchwork system, often prioritizing things like national security and business innovation. And then you have China, which has built a model of total state control, using data to increase government oversight and maintain social stability.
This whole regulatory fight didn't just happen overnight. It's really the result of decades of tension. You have these key moments, like the Patriot Act after 9/11 and the Snowden leaks in 2013, that dramatically expanded government power. And then, in response, you get laws like the EU's GDPR and China's PIPL, creating this constant push and pull that's still defining our digital rights today.
All of this brings us to the really big questions we have to face. As AI gets more and more powerful and woven into every part of our lives, who gets to write the rules? Who controls the code that is starting to control our world? We're standing at a digital crossroads, and it's defined by these massive tensions. How do we balance the need for national security with our right to personal privacy? What's the real trade-off between all this amazing daily convenience and our own individual autonomy? How do we let innovation fly without giving up our civil liberties? These are the choices on the table.
Because ultimately, technology is never neutral. It always reflects the values of the people who build it. And that means if we want a future that respects things like human dignity and freedom, we have to be deliberate about it. We have to actually build our values, principles like fairness, accountability, privacy, right into the code, right into the architecture of these systems from the very beginning.
So that leaves us with one final critical question. As artificial intelligence becomes the invisible architect of our societies, of our opportunities, and even of our choices, who do we trust to write its code of conduct? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.